everybody. Today I'm very excited. I'm coming to you live from Wilka Tika, this beautiful, magical paradise just outside of Urubamba in the sacred lands and the sacred valley of Peru. So this is such a gorgeous place. If you ever get a chance to come here, I highly recommend it. And today will be a earth element yin yoga practice. So a little bit shorter today for those of you that don't have too much time. So we're keeping it pretty simple, and today's class is all about neutrality. So the earth element is about seeking harmony and balance, about how can we find this center point of homeostasis in amidst the ever-changing and chaotic world that we sometimes live in. So it's basically finding this neutrality in amidst the chaos that some of us experience. And that's really a choice. You know, the energy that we put out and the external environment that we see is a reflection of our inner world. So this is where we really want to come into that balance. What do we need to do in order to find balance in our life? If we are experiencing things that we don't want to, or that we do not wish to see in the world, then we need to be the best example of what we want to see and what we want to experience. And therefore that will be reflected in our external environment. So today is not going to be easy. The Yin Yoga practice is about finding this beautiful, relaxed, passive shapes and variations of poses to suit your individual body. It's about relaxing as much as you can with the muscles and the tissues. So the earth element is all about the muscles. But we're going beyond the muscles. We're getting deeper into the fascia of the body, so the connective tissue that lies beyond the muscles. And this is where these energy channels and meridian lines lay. So we have the stomach. I'm also working through the quads and the front of the body, and the spleen, which is the inner thighs, so the inner seam of the legs. So they're the two focus points of today. I have with me just 2 blocks here and a blanket. So in Yin Yoga, you might find that you need a bolster or some other props to support you, especially if you're working with injuries. I find the least amount of props is better, because this is where the change really happens in the body, is where you can sit in this uncomfortableness and really be with it. So I encourage you to actually use the least amount of props that you can and see if you can really sit in these poses. So we normally practice these poses for 3 to 7 minutes to really get deep into those tissues and for this phase change that really happens when we're able to sit in stillness for that long. So do the best you can. That's all you can do, and always look for other options and variations if you need to. There's no one right way to do the pose. So let's get into it. We're going to start with a half saddle pose. So if you want to sit down onto your right side, extend your left leg, and then see if you can just bend at the right knee. And you'll place your right foot just on the side of your right hip. So your foot is either going behind you or it's out to the side. And we're in this kind of half variation. We can always use a block or something to pop on, or we might just stay here, in fact, and this is enough to get that stimulation and sensation through the right thigh. So settle into that space. And again, we want to kind of relax all the tissues and the muscles. Maybe you'll walk a little bit further back. So you might shuffle forward on your mat and hang out here. So it's good to have the fingertips facing behind you, so you're not in this kind of awkward position. But it depends on your joints, your shoulders, your upper body, so just adjust as you need to. Some of us may come all the way down to the elbows or all the way down to the spine. You can also use a bolster underneath your back or a pillow or blanket. And you want to settle into whichever variation suits your body here and close the eyes. We're focusing on really tuning in to find this balanced breath between the inhalation and the exhalation. So trying to smooth everything out. And The earth element is about trying to harness the monkey mind, to try and find this balance between overthinking and worrying and coming into more of this peaceful state of mind, trusting, having compassion, and finding this silence, this inner Buddha nature that we all have available. And we can find that simply when we connect with ourselves, our body, our breath, connect with nature, and move into more simplicity in life. We tend to overcomplicate everything. So how can we simplify life a little? So this is the practice: balance, compassion, simplicity, refraining from overcomplicating. We can even overcomplicate the simplicity of this practice here by pushing ourselves into places where we're just not ready to go. So coming to this beautiful practice of acceptance, which is more of an advanced practice of yoga, rather than trying to make these shapes in our body. We're just looking for this openness, this slow, deeper, more mindful, more supple, more soft practice. And whenever the mind becomes distracted, come back to the breath. You might really feel and sense into where the breath is in the body. Focusing on stomach and spleen today, so digestion. Giving some warmth and nourishment to the digestive system. Let's take our last few breaths here. And then coming out very slowly and mindfully and taking stillness in between. So try not to shake out or move quickly out of the pose. As slowly as possible. Supporting yourself as you need to. And we're going to keep this shape with the legs, so just take a moment upright. Maybe a nice exhale through the mouth. And just so you can see, because you can't see this opposite leg here, we're going to move into this half frog variation of this pose to stimulate and get some sensation through the spleen line, the inner thigh. This might not be available for everyone, so I have another option for you. So we want to create a bit of space here. Yeah, we want the knee out, and so the foot again could be just straight back or out to the side, depending on your anatomy in your ankle. So if this shape doesn't work for you, another option is to take a half butterfly position with your foot, your right foot onto your left inner thigh. And then we come forward in this shape. I'm going to take the half frog variation here as it suits my hips a little bit better. So you try both and see what works for you. Again, we're trying to relax all the tissues and the muscles, yeah? So there's no activation. It's this softening in. So allow yourself to roll forward and then just take, 30 seconds or so to find again what suits you best. You may have to make some adjustments for the knee. You may have to use a pillow or a bolster or a blanket. So less is more. Let's try to just surrender, allow gravity to take your weight forward without the need to kind of push or hold yourself in position. You may feel that through the inner thigh, a little bit through the spine, maybe the knees also talking to you. You don't want to experience any pain here, any sharpness. If that is happening, then you've come too far and you want to take yourself out of the pose or find another variation. The purpose of this practice is to go slow, to go deeper. And do this in a very mindful and compassionate way with where your body's at. Trusting the process along the way. So when we think about the earth element and really trying to find this balanced way of living, it's really observing our reaction, our responses to life's challenges. And when we're out of balance, when something is speaking to us, what do we need to do? What actions do we need to take in order to come back into that center point, that peacefulness? Again, sending some breath to the belly, relaxing the shoulders. Sinking in a little deeper. Taking the last few deeper breaths here, maybe coming down just 1% more. And slowly raising up. Again, slowly, mindfully, taking a pause. So a good thing to remember for the earth element is what energy are we matching in life, with everything that's going on. It's a little check-in point to what are we, like gravity, like the law of gravity is, what goes up must come down. So what we put out, we must receive back. So what are the things that we are putting out? What are we offering into the world? How are we responding? How are we reacting? Let's slowly start to bring the legs forward now. You might find the knee joint is speaking to you here. Take a moment as we set up for the opposite side of our half saddle pose. As our good friend Albert Einstein reminds us, energy can never be created or destroyed, only transformed. So how can we transform the energy that we're experiencing in life? Let's bring that left leg now and bend at the knee, bring it by the side. Again, you could take some different options there with the knee out, with the block, with the blanket, bolster, whatever you need, wherever the foot is comfortable. And then just slowly walking back. Again, you might stay there, or you may shuffle forward and come all the way down to the earth. Checking in with your body, not forcing anything. If the knee is right up in the air, you've definitely come too far. So stay upright. Not trying to look or be like anybody else. Honor your unique individual nature. So what can you do to find this center point, this neutrality in between the chaos and the calm? How do you respond when life seems to be crashing down all around you? When someone is being reactive or projecting anger, frustration, when your kids are screaming at you, do you match that energy? Or can you create that calm? Can you change and transform it? Of course you can. We all have that ability to transform the energy around us, within us. And things are so huge and big in the world right now because there's so much energy going into one subject, one point of focus. And that's a message in itself. Whatever we put our energy into expands. So where is your energy being directed in this moment? What are the conversations you're having? What is your environment like? What are you creating? With the words, the language you use, the relationships you choose. And what kind of energy are you matching? And could you find the strength and resilience to take a stand to change that? Anything that you do not wish to see. And we must do this with compassion. Take a few deeper breaths here. coming back to simplicity. In order to create this change that we wish to see, in order to find this neutrality, this peacefulness, compassion, it is simply coming back to presence. Responding from now, this moment, taking responsibility. Let's gently, slowly come out of this shape. However you need to, with as least movement as possible. Nature has the most best, simple messages. So I encourage you today to take a walk out in nature. Sink your feet into the earth. Observe the environment. Nature is in no rush. Let's come into now this half frog pose or half butterfly pose. Remembering we can change this shape in order to suit our individual shape. So it's either the leg back in this direction or the butterfly shape going in between the legs. So try both. Again, obviously what you did on the other side, just matching that, so we're coming back into that balance. And then taking a breath in and then slowly melting forward. Again, using any props that you really need to. Shuffling in and then feeling into the body, relaxing the knees, the thighs, the feet, the ankles, the shoulders, the upper body, and just dropping in. Using the breath as your anchor point. Again, if the mind is distracted, planning out your day, to-do list. We want to create spaciousness here. We're often always trying to please others. That's one of the challenges with the earth element archetype, is always wanting to be in service and doing things for other people, wanting to be seen, acknowledged, loved, always caring and giving other people energy and sometimes forgetting about ourselves. So we can only be of the best of service outside of ourselves when we fill our own cup up. And we start to nourish and nurture ourselves. And we stop the overdoing, overthinking, overstriving. And come back to simplicity. Melting into presence, awareness.
Sinking in a little deeper with each exhalation you take. Giving yourself to the earth like an offering. Gratitude for this home, this support, this stable rock that we live on, floating through the universe despite the chaos, the fluctuating weather, that is always present and around. Slowly start to come out. Again, just lengthen out that left leg now. Beautiful. Move very slowly. Slowly start to come down to the earth, so relaxing your back body all the way down. Take a few deep breaths there, sweeping your breath from your toes to your crown. Feeling a sense of spaciousness. And before relaxing down into our final meditation, take a happy baby pose. So you might want to just bend your knees here, take your feet a little bit wider, and then just wish-wash your knees from one side to the other. And then grab the outer edges of the soles of your feet and bring your knees down in towards your armpits, or you might want to take your peace fingers on your big toe, or even grab the inside, or for you it might be the ankles. Coming into this happy baby position. You can take a little movement here or find stillness. And I was writing about the earth element the other day about, in order to really create the change that we wish to see in the world and to find this inner calm and inner balance, that we have to move through our own shadows in life. Delve into the depths of our own darkness, our own traumas, our own habits, the things that are limiting us in life. They come from, either past experiences, things that have been passed down in our ancestral lines. And if we think about, when we were in the womb of our mother, for 9 months we were in this darkness, not knowing that we would ever see the light. And through that darkness, there was so much pain and suffering. Then finally, there was this beautiful, pure, unconditional love of life that was birthed into the light. After so much darkness, so much pain, so much suffering. And then this miracle of life was shining into the light. This is magic. This is where transformation happens, when we're able to go back into the depths of our darkness, to release any pain, any suffering that we're holding, in order for that energy to be transformed into the light. The first part of that is taking responsibility for our life, for ourselves, for everything that we've experienced. acknowledging, accepting, forgiving. It's the only way that we can move forward into the light, to continue our journey of healing. And in order to transform the world around us, we must start with ourselves. And slowly release the legs now. Extend your legs, come into a point of stillness. Take any other shape that you need to before coming down into relaxation, into final meditation. Maybe take a few deep breaths, sinking your weight into the earth. Completely relaxing all the muscles, tissues, from toes to crown. And let's bring into mind one thing that we are committed to transforming in our life. Anything that's limiting, any old past traumas, hurts that we're prepared to allow to come up to the surface in order to be birthed into the light. What's one thing that you wish to change about yourself? One thing that you can commit to? Simplicity is key. And then acknowledging, befriending, accepting, and anything that you need in order to move through this, any support that you need to call on, commit to that. Do the work, create the change with compassion, with love. With trust. Thank you all for practicing with me today. Take as much time as you need to sit with this, to be with this, to be in stillness, silence, meditation. Remember, go out and connect with the earth today. Remember simplicity. And I wish you all a beautiful day. Namaste.